What is up, YouTube? What is going on? Give me a second here while I get this live going. All right. Alright, so in this video, I want to talk to you guys about why I think that the Acid Lab is the absolute best business in GTA Online. And while I do that, I actually want to go ahead and do my Acid Lab. So, my sale, as you can see, it is filled up. Right now, because we are on double money for the Halloween update week, it's showing 703,000. Because I'm in a public lobby, which I always recommend you sell this in, I'm going to make a little over $1 million. So let's go ahead and get this out of the freak shop. So give me 1 second. Somebody's at the door.
Give me a second.
All right. All right, sorry about that. Had to help out one of my family members. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do the sale real quick. So you guys are gonna see live how easy this thing is to sell in public lobby. So I want to see if you can see this. I'm going to take my wristwatch off, use it for a stopwatch. See if you guys can see that. All right, so we'll go ahead and start it. And, I like to be realistic. A lot of YouTubers I see, they always, when they talk about how much money you can make doing things, it seems like they always err on the side of like the absolute maximum possibility, the best case scenario. They don't talk about all the things that can go wrong, or, the setups, or even things like loading screens, stuff like that. So I started my stopwatch, yeah, so we're gonna see how long this is actually gonna take in real time, real life. And of course they give me the one that I gotta go all the way across the map. All right, that's cool. That's good. See, I like this because it's going to show, worst case scenario, how easy this thing actually is. So, first off, a couple of pointers when selling this in a public lobby. Well, first thing is I always recommend selling this in public lobby because it just goes so fast, and you can use your ghost organization, and of course, as you can see in the bottom right of the screen, you get 1 minute already where you're off the radar. So I always immediately know Mutt's gonna call. I answer, hang up on him, immediately set my waypoint at my first marker for my first delivery, and then I just start booking it. Just start booking it as fast as I can before the time runs out. And then what you want to do before you lose that minute, and this is actually something I do before even leaving. Typically I didn't this time around just because, I don't know, I've rarely ever failed these, that I get a little lazy, but I always look at the map. Usually, like I said, from the start menu before I even leave the acid lab, I check the map to get a feel for the lobby, see if people are flying around on oppressors and whatnot. And then as I'm going, I'm opening up the mini map and seeing if anybody's nearby, and also if there's anybody even in the outskirts who potentially might be coming my way, or maybe they just saw the notification come up that another business is delivering goods, and so they start heading my way. So that is another reason to have that map open. All right, real quick, and sorry if I'm kind of not being super clear in my communication here. I'm trying to multitask, explain while doing this at the same time. So it's kind of taking even longer than it would. But again, that's good because you guys are going to see like what the worst case scenario is, how easy it is to do this mission. So now here's another tip. These sales typically have 1 to 2 random events where the police get triggered. They come after you. You get 2 stars in wanted level, and you have to lose your wanted level before you can continue selling. So I wanted to show you this. I always, before I go into get too close, you see how the yellow on the map, it goes from being a little blip that says A or B or whatever, whichever number of sale it is. It's usually 5, and it goes to this big yellow radius with the 3 areas that you can put the package. So before you get into that, and it has to be before because, well, you'll see in a second, before you get into that, open up your map. If you have your waypoint set at this location, get rid of it and set your waypoint at the next one. That's very important to be as efficient as possible. And the reason is what I'm about to show you. So once you come into this area and it expands to that yellow radius, you no longer see any of the other waypoints. So it's important to do that first, because if this happens to be the one of the ones where the police, the undercovers and stuff, like no, that's not one. But if it's the one where the undercovers are sitting around waiting for you, and you get that wanted level, you will end up having to lose your wanted level before you are able to continue. So I always like to set that second waypoint so that if I do get a wanted level, I can at least just start heading in that direction. And typically, especially out here in the desert, you'll lose them just by going off-road on the dirt bike. And so by the time you lose them, you're already at the next spot. Okay, so see again, whoops, I almost forgot. Let me get out of this yellow area. Set my next waypoint. See, sometimes, guys, I get lazy with it because I've done this so many times that I know where all of the deliveries are. So sometimes I get lazy, but for the sake of showing you guys who maybe don't do this as often, we'll just follow suit with that plan. All right, stash it. Doesn't look like there's any police here. Jump back on. Let's see how we're doing on time. We're at 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes so far, and of course I'm talking a lot, so I've probably added a good minute or two just by kind of talking you guys through this. So on average, I think it takes between 5 and 10 minutes to complete this whole mission. If it's the one on top of the parking garage, that one's super easy. I'll do another video if I get that one. For right now, we'll just keep it at this. Again, this is like the worst possible scenario. I came from the city all the way out here across the entire map to Polito Bay and Polito Forest to do all these drops. Yeah, so why do I think this is the best business in the whole game? Well, it's basically completely passive, you know. I like to liken it to baking a cake, right? It might take you 20 minutes to mix up all the ingredients and everything, put in the cake pan, and then throw it in the oven, and maybe another, 10, 15 minutes to get it out and clean up. So really, baking a cake, it only takes maybe, let's just say an hour out of your whole life, right? Even though the actual baking process might take more than that, might actually be in the oven for 2 hours or so. You're really only actually doing the work for, about maybe, like I said, maybe somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour. So while it's baking, you can be doing other things. So this is, basically a passive business. It's just going to be accruing, product the whole time while you are doing other things. And I look at everything in kind of like a dollars per hour type of perspective. So if this mission only takes you, let's just be generous here. I mean, what are we at? We're at like 7-8 minutes so far. Let's just say it takes you 30 whole minutes, and you're making, if you sell it, as long as you sell in a public lobby, you're making $500,000 in 30 minutes. So that's basically like making $1 million an hour, which there is no other business that can do that. Now, you can't just grind this business like you can other things, maybe the KO Perico heist, as long as you wait for the cooldown. See, and look, quick side note here. Triggered the police event, so I'm going to have to run. And because I didn't set that waypoint, I now don't know exactly where I'm going. Well, I mean, I wouldn't if it wasn't for the fact I've done this mission so much. But I do need to go hide from the cops real quick, though. I'll lose my wand level real quick. But yeah, so you can't really grind this like you can other businesses, but still, I mean, I don't really get time to play this game a whole lot. So for me, I like to do the sale. I try to do it twice per day. I usually have it maybe half or 3/4 of the way full when I start. So I'll just play around doing whatever for a little bit until it's full, and then I drop back, I sell it, hit the boost, your production once per day, and then I continue playing the game until it's full the second time, which goes pretty quick with the boost. I sell it again. I've made, $1 million. And then, if I have other things I'm doing in the game just for fun, I typically will end up getting it back, half full or 3/4 of the way before I end for the day. Come on, lose the cops. So you can pretty easily make $1 million at this per day selling a public lobby. Now, because I'm out here, there's not a lot of players. If I was in the city, I just about guarantee I would have already activated my ghost organization. And you can typically, you get that first minute of off the radar. Can I get through here? Yes. And you can typically, you get that first minute, and by that point you're already almost to your first spot. And if you've got a good idea of who's on the map and you've done well at avoiding them, you can usually get maybe 2, 3, 4 drops in before anybody starts coming after you. Not another one. And once you wait, you keep your ghost organization until you see somebody coming after you on the map. That's one of the big keys. honestly, to always having a successful sale in a public lobby. Never just hit your ghost organization for no reason. I always wait until I have a reason, like I see maybe a cluster of oppressors or something, some players just going berserk, their blips are turning red and they're just going around griefing everybody. If I see some stuff like that on my mini map right where I need to go do one of my sales, I will, activate my ghost organization. If I see people going crazy on the map, killing other players, as long as they're not in my way and they don't appear to be coming after me when I make the mini map big, I will not use my ghost organization. I save it until I need it. So with that method, I typically can get, alright, we lost the cops. I typically can get, about, like I said, anywhere from 2 to 5 of my deliveries made without even activating my ghost organization. And then I activate it, make the remaining sales, or at least most remaining sales, and then I maybe just have one sale, and then I just need to leave the area on my bike for that bonus. And of course, if you make it all the way to your final sale or whatever, and then someone griefs you at the end, it's too late. You already made it, even if the mission hasn't quite been completed yet. You may not get that bonus for leaving on your delivery bike, but it's a very small bonus anyway, so wouldn't worry too much about it. But anyways, guys, as you can see, I'm just about done here. Totally just been kind of distracted talking to you guys, not really paying attention to what I'm doing. And I still think we made pretty good time. I think it starts at 20 minutes, so we're approaching 5 minutes remaining here. So, it took me about 15 minutes, really not focusing. Like I said, when I'm not making a video, it typically takes me about 5 to 10 minutes, But it gave us the worst possible scenario. We had to drive all the way across the map. I'm making a video, I'm talking, and getting distracted. So, yeah, I'm going to make this last drop, and then leave the area. Alright. Now, just to be extra realistic and generous with my time estimations, I'm going to go ahead and get my Reju spawned in. And looks like they got over here on the beach. Whoops. And I want to go all the way back to the city. Again, that's what a lot of YouTubers, they don't do. They don't tell you, they don't account for all this extra time, traveling back and forth between things, loading screens. They want to start their stopwatch right when the mission starts and then end it right at the very end. And, they don't account for all this other time, Guys, I'm a business owner here, right? I run businesses in real life. Like, you have to account all that other time, in your, time estimates, or, your, how much time you allocate toward different things, you know what I mean? When I charge for my business in real life, like, I charge anywhere from 50 to 150 an hour, and it's like, it's not like I make that. I mean, that'd be amazing if I could make 150 an hour all day long for, anywhere from 6 to 10 hours a day. That would be wonderful. But in actuality, it doesn't happen that way. You end up, making 150 an hour during your service calls, which is what I do. I run a handyman business and different property renovation businesses. And when I'm on the job, yeah, I'm making good money, but then I have to leave the job and I clock out, and it's called the difference between billable and non-billable time. You got to account for all your paperwork and everything, you know. So, again, to be realistic, looking at my stoppage here, I'm at 16 minutes, you know. 16 minutes. You also want to count a little bit of time for, you know, maybe visiting the freak shop, you know, to boost your production. That's going to take you a couple minutes, you know. So realistically, you know, like I said, it takes me 5-10 minutes to do the mission, but I would like to round up to, again, if I stayed in the city, probably 15 minutes to be safe. Worst case scenario, if it takes me all the way across, and I'm going to go ahead and stop this now. So 16 minutes and 42 seconds. I'm back in the city, so if I were, you know, if I had other things I wanted to do, I could now be doing them and counting time for something else. So yeah, 16 minutes and 42 seconds is how long that took. You know. Let's just round up. Let's say it's a 20-minute. Absolute worst case scenario, 20 minutes. Who's this guy? Of course, you can't always just immediately load into a new lobby. Set your spawn location, you know, in the city, and then you can save time that way. Keep in mind, if you do that though, a lot of your passive businesses may not fill up as fast if you're constantly loading into a new lobby. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't tested it yet, but I've heard that, you know, if you load into a new lobby before your business registers its next, you know, chunk of goods accrued or whatever it is, it's going to start over, right? So I'm sure you've noticed that your businesses accrue a certain amount of worth of product or whatever, you know, every few minutes. You know, like the Acid Lab, for example, we just sold. Every few minutes, you'll see it goes up a few $1,000s. What I've heard is that if you load into a new lobby, it will start over whatever the last, we'll call it a checkpoint, was, you know. So, in other words, if it's about to bump up to the next, you know, few $1,000s accrued worth of product, it's going to then go back down to the, sorry, someone's distracting me out there. It is going to, you know, start over at that, like I said, what we'll call a checkpoint. So keep that in mind. Not always good to just keep jumping from lobby to lobby. So I hear. Haven't tested it yet. Maybe in one video we can test that. Or if anybody knows if that's the case, let me know in the comments. So yeah, alright, there we have it, guys. Sale complete. Took me less than 20 minutes. Because it's ×2 this week. Made $1 million. I will do that once more. I do it these days because $1 million this week. I've been doing it. I've been trying to do it 3 times a day. There's a way to go AFK, let it accrue, you know, while you do other things. You know, that helps, but, or if you just have, you know, all day to just play the game. Like I said, you can boost it 1 time, so, yeah, I try to do it 3 times a day right now, so that's 3 million per day in GTA, of course, minimum, because you're doing other things during that time, but, yeah, again, dollars per hour, best business in the game. You can't grind it, but honestly, if you just make this your #1 priority, you know, I think you'll see that you can make more money doing this than just about anything else. Yeah, so that's it for now. Keep in mind, guys, if you are looking for a GTA community, something to be a part of, a group to help you, you know, with your businesses, with your sales, I do have a crew. It's called the Prodigals. Just hit me up in the comments. I will be launching a Discord soon too, if you want to, chat and talk more about how to be part of this community. In case you guys don't know, check out the description on my channel. Basically what this channel, this community is all about is people who, want to get more out of life, want to be successful. Right now, we're building an empire in GTA, but then I want to take that out into the real world and build empires in the real world, build businesses. I have been a successful business owner. I've grown businesses to over 6 figures. I definitely got a late start in life, kind of having a midlife crisis. But I'm seeing how easy that people are making money on YouTube. Figured I'd give it a shot. So yeah, if you're someone that wants to learn about life, learn from all the lessons that I've learned on growing a 6-figure company, hit me up and let's do this. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. A little bit of a shorter video today. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys how to do that sale. And till next time, peace out. I'm going to end it now.